Hello everybody. Today our topic of discussion is renal tubular acidosis. What are the different types of renal tubular acidosis that we need to know first? So first is the type 1. Type 1 renal tubular acidosis, which is also known as distal renal tubular acidosis. Why? Because it is due to disturbance in the distal part of the nephron, that is the distal convoluted tubule as well as collecting duct. Next type is the type 2 renal tubular acidosis, which is also known as proximal RTA, because it is due to disturbance in the proximal part of the nephron. Third one is the type 4 renal tubular acidosis. It is mainly due to aldosterone deficiency or due to action of the resistant action of the aldosterone. And finally, other type of renal tubular acidosis is the type 3 renal tubular acidosis. So type 3 renal tubular acidosis is a rare disorder, and it is basically a mixed conglomeration of the type 1 and type 2. So it is due to sometimes some kind of mixed disorder, and which is also a rare disorder out of all this renal tubular acidosis. So with having this idea, let's begin with the type 1 or the distal renal tubular acidosis. Type 1 or the distal renal tubular acidosis. To understand this type 1 distal renal tubular acidosis, first we must know the function of the alpha intercalated cell. As in our previous video, we discussed about the function of the alpha intercalated disc, which is present basically in the distal part of the nephron. What happens here? Here, this is the epithelial cell. Here is the distal part of the nephron, and this is the renal tubular part, and here it is the medullary interstitium. What happens when hydrogen ion and the bicarbonate ion will reach? It will act via on the presence of carbonic anhydrase type 4 and produce H2O plus CO2. Again, they will react with each other in presence of carbonic anhydrase type 2 enzyme and immediately produce what? Hydrogen ion and bicarbonate ion. Now this hydrogen ion will be shifted to the distal part of the nephron in the renal tubule in two ways. One, it can directly come into the renal tubule by the primary active transport system, that is the hydrogen ion ATPase pump. And in other way, it can also be transported into the distal part of the nephron by the secondary active transport mechanism. Here, potassium ion enter into the cell and hydrogen ion will be removed from the cell. And here the channel is known as potassium hydrogen ion exchanger. It is also a type of secondary active transport mechanism. Now where, and ultimately this bicarbonate will be reabsorbed by the chloride bicarbonate exchanger. So in this way, bicarbonate will be reabsorbed and hydrogen ion eventually come into the distal part of the nephron, and later on it will be excreted through the urine. Now, what is the problem? Where the problem remains during the type 1 renal tubular acidosis? That we will discuss now. This renal tubular acidosis, mainly type 1 distal renal tubular acidosis, mainly occurs due to genetic defect, or it can be acquired or drug toxicity defect. It can be due to autosomal diseases or some other diseases. Later we will discuss. So first we will deal with the genetic disorder. Defect in the alpha intercalated disc, mainly it can be autosomal dominant disorder or autosomal recessive disorder. Autosomal dominant disorder will occur when there is mutation in this channel, that is the chloride bicarbonate exchanger, which is also known as anion exchanger 1. So if there is mutation in the anion exchanger 1 channel, then it is due to autosomal disorder, autosomal dominant disorder, and type 1 renal tubular acidosis can be produced. The other variant of the type 1 renal tubular acidosis is the autosomal recessive disorder. Here, the hydrogen ion ATPase pump, this pump can be muted, or this secondary active transport mutation also can be muted. So here it is 1, here it is 2. So channel 1 as well as channel 2 will be channel 1 and channel 2 will be muted, and this is known as autosomal recessive disorder or type of the type 1 renal tubular acidosis. Now, what other causes of the type 1 renal tubular acidosis? Some drug toxicities. So what are the drugs that will create type 1 distal renal tubular acidosis? These are the amphotericin B, amphotericin B, amphotericin B drug, or if what it will do, it will increase the permeability of the hydrogen ion into the cell. It will increase the permeability of hydrogen ion into the cell. Third causes are autoimmune disorder. Autoimmune disorder like SLE or rheumatoid arthritis. Autoimmune disorder. Examples are systemic lupus erythematosus and the rheumatoid arthritis. It can be due to obstructive uropathy also. Obstructive uropathy, or it can be due to nephrocalcinosis. Nephrocalcinosis. So these are the causes for the occurrence of type 1 renal tubular acidosis. Now, what are the features of the type 1, clinical features of the type 1 or distal renal tubular acidosis? Here, the urine pH will be more alkaline. Urine pH will be more alkaline. It will be more than 5.5 always. There will be severe metabolic acidotic situation where bicarbonate ion will be less than 15 milliequivalent per liter, and increased bicarbonate load in the urine, increased bicarbonate load in urine, and increased calcium ion or calciuria. Calcium ion in urine will be increased, which is known as calciuria. Okay. So next we will discuss about why there will be severe metabolic acidosis, because the beta 1 subunit of the hydrogen ion ATPase pump is actually muted here, which is a strong pump for which hydrogen ion will be secreted or excreted. So hydrogen ion ATPase beta subunit mutation is the most important reason for why there will be severe metabolic acidosis. Now, what are the total clinical features we will get here? The hypertensive chloremic plus hypokalemic severe metabolic acidosis with calciuria and the nephrocalcinosis. So these are the overall clinical feature of the type 1 renal tubular acidosis. A little more discussion about the treatment plan of the renal tubular acidosis. As there is severe acidity situation, so to combat this severe acidotic situation, what you will have to give? You will have to give the sodium bicarbonate. So IV injection of the sodium bicarbonate you have to give, so that there will be replenishment of the sodium ion and correction of the ECF volume, as well as it can correct also hypokalemic situation. Or you can give sodium potassium citrate salt, sodium potassium citrate salt. So these are all about a little bit about treatment plan. Next, come to the type 2 renal tubular acidosis, which is mainly disorder due to proximal part of the nephron, that is the proximal convoluted tubule. So as we already discussed that in the proximal part of the nephron, hydrogen ion will also be secreted and potassium ion will be reabsorbed, which is also known as reclamation process. So here, to recapitulate this thing, we have to again draw the diagram first. Here it is the epithelial cell. Here it is the proximal convoluted tubule of the proximal part of the nephron, and here it is the medullary interstitium. So what happens when hydrogen ion and the bicarbonate ion will present in the proximal part of the nephron? They first react with each other at the level of the cell membrane of the epithelial cell via the carbonic anhydrase type 4, and immediately produce what? H2O plus CO2, and subsequently it will react with each other by the presence of carbonic anhydrase type 2, and it will produce hydrogen ion as well as the bicarb. Now this hydrogen ion will be transported to the lumen by the secondary active transport system, that is the sodium hydrogen ion exchanger. So hydrogen ion will be secreted here and sodium ion will be entered into the cell. Now this sodium ion as well as the bicarbonate ion will transported into the medullary interstitium by the action of the sodium bicarbonate co-transporter, which is also an example of secondary active transport mechanism or the symporter mechanism. So sodium bicarbonate co-transporter will be the responsible pump by which sodium ion will be reabsorbed along with the bicarbonate ion. Now then, where the problem is basically remains, the problem will be mainly due to mutation of this pump. So if there is mutation of this sodium bicarbonate co-transporter, or if there is mutation in this carbonic anhydrase type 4 enzyme, then our type 2 renal tubular acidosis will. So either due to mutation of the sodium bicarbonate co-transporter 1, or due to deficiency of the enzyme, that is the carbonic anhydrase type 2, which is present in the cytosol of the proximal convoluted tubule epithelial cell, will lead to occurrence of the type 2 renal tubular acidosis. And this two type of problem can be seen most typically in case of Fanconi syndrome. So Fanconi syndrome is one of the most important cause for the occurrence of the proximal renal tubular acidosis. In case of Fanconi syndrome, it can also be produced due to some drug toxicity. such as telramycin. So telramycin is a kind of drug which can cause Fanconi syndrome, that also lead to occurrence of type 2 or the proximal renal tubular acidosis. Now, what are other causes for this type 2 renal tubular acidosis? These are the cystinosis. So cystinosis. Next is the multiple myeloma. Then amyloidosis, as well as the vitamin D deficiency. So again, vitamin D deficiency, amyloidosis, multiple myeloma, cystinosis, as well as the Fanconi syndrome, which can be due to congenital disorder or due to drug toxicity, will lead to occurrence of the type 2 RTA, renal tubular acidosis. Now, here most important thing is that impairment bicarbonate ion reabsorption in the proximal part of the nephron. So decrease bicarbonate ion reabsorption in the PCT. That will lead to mild to moderate renal tubular metabolic acidosis. Mild to moderate metabolic acidotic situation in the proximal part of the nephron, but never it will be severe metabolic acidosis like the type 1 distal renal tubular acidosis. Oil of the collecting duct still secrete hydrogen ion, which can neutralize bicarbonate in the tubular fluid. So urine pH variable. If bicarbonate below threshold, then pH will be less than 5.5, or if more than that, then it can be more than 5.5. So again, as alpha intercalated cell of the collecting duct still secrete hydrogen ion, which can neutralize bicarbonate ion in the tubular fluid. That's why the urine pH is basically variable, which is not always more than 5.5, like the type 1 renal tubular acidosis. Along with this feature, other features are hypokalemia. So potassium ion concentration will be reduced. Of course, there will be hyperchloremic problem, and along with that, there will be phosphaturia, glycosuria, amino aciduria, and the proteinuria. Phosphaturia, glycosuria, amino aciduria, and the proteinuria in the form of albumin. Proteinuria. So these are all about our clinical feature of type 2 renal tubular acidosis. A little bit about our treatment plan. Treatment will depend upon the underlying disorder. So first you have to treat the underlying disease for which the type 2 renal tubular acidosis will produce. So underlying disease treatment. This is the first thing. You can also give sodium bicarbonate and potassium ion supplementation, but it is not always necessary. Sodium bicarbonate and potassium ion supplementation can be given, but it is not always necessary. And of course, you can give thiazide diuretics. Thiazide diuretic, renal tubular acidosis. This type 4 renal tubular acidosis mainly occurs due to either due to aldosterone deficiency, aldosterone deficiency. This aldosterone deficiency can be either primary or the secondary. Primary aldosterone deficiency can be seen in case of Addison disease or bilateral adrenalectomy. Addison disease or bilateral adrenalectomy. And the secondary disorder mainly due to hyporeninemic hypoaldosteronism, including diabetic nephropathy. Hyporeninemic hypoaldosteronism, hypoaldosteronism, including diabetic nephropathy, nephropathy. Okay, so it can be either due to aldosterone resistance. Number two, it can be due to, it can be due to aldosterone deficiency. Number two, it can be aldosterone resistance disorder. So aldosterone resistant can also be due to either genetic or drug effect. Genetic disorder occurs due to mutation in the epithelial sodium ion channel. So if there is mutation in the epithelial sodium ion channel or some drug toxicity like NSAIDs or ACE inhibitor and the ARB, ACE inhibitor or the angiotensin receptor blocker drugs. Third important cause is the pseudo-hypoaldosteronism due to mutation in the mineralocorticoid receptor. Third one is the pseudo-hypoaldosteronism, pseudo-hypoaldosteronism due to mutation in the mineralocorticoid receptor. So mineralocorticoid receptor mutation will also lead to type 4 RTA. Then severe volume depletion or the hypotensive situation. So if there is decrease or contraction of the extracellular volume, as well as if there is hypotensive situation, then also we can see this type 4 RTA, or due to decreased cation exchanger due to impairment in the ROMK channel. And finally, if there is impairment in the ROMK channel, which is solely responsible due to potassium ion exchanging factor. So ROMK channel mutation will lead to hyperkalemia. So there will be decreased potassium ion excretion or secretion, and it will remain inside our body, and that will lead to increase in the high potassium ion concentration, which is known as hyperkalemia. Now let's recapitulate the function of the aldosterone in the principal cell of the distal part of the nephron, how it actually works. It, when secreted from the in the distal part of the nephron principal cell, it will immediately cross through the cell membrane as it is lipid soluble, and it will enter into the cell and react with the mineralocorticoid receptor, and ultimately will produce what? Aldosterone induced protein, AIP. This aldosterone induced protein eventually will produce few pumps. First, it will produce the epithelial sodium ion channel, ENaC channel at the luminal site. Then it will help to produce the ROMK channel. So ROMK channel produce due to due to action of the aldosterone induced protein, and it will produce at the apical site, and the aldosterone induced protein also increase expression of the sodium potassium ATPase pump at the basolateral site. So sodium potassium ATPase pump will also be expressed increasingly. So increased sodium potassium pump ATPase expression will occur at the basolateral site, and at the apical lumen of the renal tubule, it will help to synthesis the epithelial sodium ion channel as well as ROMK channel. Sorry, here it is the ROMK channel. Here it is the ROMK channel. So ROMK channel. Now ROMK channel help to increase secretion of the potassium ion into the tubular lumen. Epithelial sodium ion channel will help to increase reabsorption of the sodium ion from the distal part of the nephron principal cell, and eventually this sodium ion will be transported into the medullary interstitium and into the circulation via the sodium potassium ATPase pump in exchange of potassium ion, and this potassium ion are eventually excreted by this ROMK channel. So this is the basic mechanism of the aldosterone. Now from our previous discussion we can understand that if there is mutation will occur in the epithelial sodium ion channel, or if there is mutation in the ROMK channel, that will also produce the type 4 renal tubular acidosis, as well as if there is deficiency in the aldosterone, and if there is aldosterone resistant at the mineralocorticoid receptor level, that also lead to type 4 renal tubular acidosis. So these are the feature of the renal tubular acidosis type 4. Now what happens, there will be hyperkalemia. Clinical feature of the type 4 renal tubular acidosis, first is the severe hyperkalemic situation as there is mutation in the ROMK channel. Second is the moderate metabolic acidosis. There will be moderate, not severe metabolic acidosis. And here the bicarbonate ion concentration will be more than 15 milliequivalent per liter in the extracellular fluid. And this is also an example of normal anion gap metabolic acidosis. So these are all about our clinical feature. Let's a little bit discussion on the treatment. So treatment mainly can be done for the hypoaldosteronism. So whatever may be the cause of the hypoaldosteronism, you have to treat that problem first. So cause of hypoaldosteronism treatment you have to done first. Then you can give low potassium ion diet and loop diuretics. So loop diuretics like fruitsamide, as well as low potassium ion diet you can give. And lastly, you will discuss about the type 3 renal tubular acidosis. This is also known as mixed proximal distal RTA. Mixed proximal distal renal tubular acidosis. Here basically what happens, it is mainly due to deficiency of the carbonic anhydrase 2, which is present inside the epithelial cell of the tubular lumen. So if there is deficiency of the carbonic anhydrase type 2 enzyme into the cell, that will also lead to proximal bicarbonate ion leak and distal acidification defect. So that will also lead to increased secretion of the bicarbonate ion at the proximal convoluted tubules area, as well as it will also lead to defect in the distal acidification in the alpha intercalated disc. So distal acidification defect we can see. So distal acidification defect we can see, but the thing is that it is the rarest disorder out of all type 1, type 2, type 3 and type 4. So type 3 renal tubular acidosis is the rarest renal tubular acidosis. So these are all about our discussion on the renal tubular acidosis. Hope you will enjoy this video. Thank you.